Lesson is on the Rational Roots Theorem. It's probably one of the most important theorems in your Algebra 2 class. It lets you solve any polynomial equation without any information known except for the equation itself. Let's go ahead and get started here. So whatever board problem this is, I called this board problem 25 last year. It might change. This leads right into it. So we're going to divide using synthetic division. This binomial divided into this actually it's not a trinomial, it's a quartic fourth root equation. So notice there's a 0x cubed in there, there's a 0x. So let's go ahead and get started with number 1 right here. So synthetic division, we always use the opposite of the number with the binomial. So plus 1, the box number is going to be minus 1. Slide it down, times the box number is negative 1. Add 0 plus negative 1 is negative 1. Times the box number, negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. Add times the box number, add times the box number. Okay, so this is a fourth root, so this is going to be a third root, a cubic. So 1x cubed minus x squared minus 2x plus 2 plus the remainder 4 over what I was dividing by, x plus 1. Okay, so it is not a factor because I got 4. I did not get 0. If it was 0, it would be a factor. So let's try this one here. Okay, so this is number 2. The box number is going to be opposite that negative 2, so it's a positive 2. So I get this, and if this is a cubic, so this is going to be a quadratic, a squared, x squared plus 4x plus 3. And yes, it is a factor because I get a remainder of 0. Now, it's not asking for it, but if it said find the roots, you guys, then I'd go ahead and continue to solve that, and I'd get negative 3 here, negative 1, and I get this also right here as 2 as being the roots right there. It's not asking for it, but if it did ask for that. Okay, on number 3, when I divided negative 5 synthetically, I get this quadratic equation right here, x squared minus 7x plus 2. Yes, it's 0, so yes, it is a factor right there. Okay, and again, it's not asking for it, but if it asks for the roots, this doesn't factor, so I would use the quadratic formula on that, and I'd get those roots right there, negative 5, and then 7 plus root 41 over 2, and 7 minus root 41 over 2. All right, okay, so the rational roots theorem works like this. Okay, now it's going to look real confusing, you guys, but don't let it be too confusing. I'll unwind it for you in just a second. So given this polynomial equation, this could be like 5x to the 7th plus 2/3 x to the 6th and blah, 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 plus some constant right there equals 0. So it just represents a polynomial equation. So if they didn't give you any solutions or any factors, then you'd have to start guessing, you guys. So the only possible box numbers are plus or minus the right number, this right number right here, whatever this constant is, over this number over here. So we factors of this number over this number right here. So let me show you by example right here. So list all possible rational roots. So the only possible box numbers are plus or minus. Don't worry about the negative 2 because the plus or minus it carries that, you guys. So plus or minus factors of 2, 1 goes into 2, 2 goes into 2, and factors of 6, 1 goes into 6, 2 goes into 6, 3 goes into 6, and 6 goes into 6. So 1 over 1, 1 over 2, 1 over 3, which is 1/3, 1/6, 2 over 1, 2 over 2, which is 1, and I already got that right there. 2/3 and 2/6, which is 1/3, and I already got that right there. So plus or minus all those right there. Okay, those are the only box numbers I would try, and I'm looking for zeros. So let's solve this guy. So I'm going to try 1. Hopefully 1 will work, and 1 gave me a remainder of 12, so it's not 0. So I want factors that's going to give me a remainder of 0. So I tried negative 1, gave me negative 6. Let's try 2. Okay, 2 gives me a remainder of 84. Let's try negative 2. I'm going to synthetically divide negative 2 into that. And finally, I get a remainder of 0. Okay, so negative 2 is a root. So now this is a quadratic because this was a cubic right here. So this is my condensed quadratic, 6x squared minus x minus 1 equals 0. So now I can just solve that guy right there. So now that factors to 3x plus 1 times 2x minus 1. Set those factors equal to 0. Don't forget the root that we originally got is negative 2. So there's the solutions to that cubic equation right there. Okay, let's try another one, you guys. Oh, wait a minute. Sometimes they'll give you a picture, you guys, and if they give you a picture, you can make you can cut down your work by guessing on this, you guys. Look right there. There's my negative 1/3, but by the picture, I wouldn't be able to tell if that's negative 1/3. There's the 1/2 right there. The roots are where it crosses the x-axis. Definitely, though, I can see negative 2 gives me a root. Once I get negative 2, it gets me a condensed quadratic equation, and I can solve for that guy right there. Okay, let's try this one. Here, there's no picture, so let's go ahead and try 1. Okay, actually, I'm saving time. 1 doesn't work, -1 doesn't work, but 2 works on this, and I'm just saving time, you guys, to save time on the video. All right, so that's a root right there, and then I'm going to solve x squared plus 8x plus 3 equals 0. Now that doesn't factor. This one's a good completing the square because that's a 1x squared, and that's an even number. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Okay, and then I'm going to take half of this number, which is 4, and then I'm going to square that. 4 squared is 16, so I'm going to add 16 to both sides. And what that does is it gives me a perfect square trinomial, which factors to a binomial squared, x plus 4 squared. Okay, equals 13. So now when I can square root both sides. X plus 4 equals plus or minus the square root of 13, and subtract 4. So here's two answers right here, -4 plus root 13, -4 minus root 13. Don't forget the 2 up there. Okay, now I did all my guessing and checking with 1 and -1, and I'm just saving time just for this video right here. So let's try that with this guy right here. Okay, looks like I'm missing a 0x squared, and I'm going to jump right to the chase and tell you 1 is the solution. Okay, so when I divide that in here, okay, so that's a root right here, or a 0. Okay, now this is a condensed cubic equation, so now I'm going to solve this cubic equation right here. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing and jump right to the next 0. So -2 gives me another 0 with this cubic equation, and then once I get the 0, it's going to get me my condensed quadratic equation, and we know how to solve all quadratics right here. So this is 2x squared, because this is cubed right here. This gave me 4th root, so this was a 3rd root. I had to keep going synthetically to get my quadratic so I can solve that. So when I factor that, you guys, that factors to 5x minus 2, x minus 3. So I get 5 halves for one and 3 for the other. Don't forget the 1 up there. So and the -2. So these were 2 roots, and here's the other 2 roots right there. All right, so if you're in my Algebra 2 class, I would assign that for your homework, okay?